Welcome back to New Am Sam Radio, the podcast for creators. It is I, the mayor, Flobo Boyce, in the mayor's office. And today we have a very, very special episode. The reason being is this. A lot of times people who work in entrepreneur creative endeavors sometimes feel they're lacking a companion. Loneliness is a real problem. And my guest today has a solution. Please welcome once again to the show. It's been like for a long time, decentricity. How's it
Been
going?
a while.
Yeah.
Hi, Flobo. It's been great. I'm back in Asia. I'm doing stuff here. We're still sort of like doing a lot of the tech stuff. And we're building something new. Can't wait to introduce you to Bestie.
Oh, well, before we get into that, I gotta ask, like, what's it like traveling the world? I see you with CNBC sometimes that pops up in my feed. I
Oh
see you
yeah.
doing like doing talks. Like, it's kind of a crazy world being an entrepreneur.
Well, a lot of those are for the projects I'm doing, and
Mhm.
obviously we need to get some traction for those projects, and we go to media and we talk about them. And a lot of my projects are pretty cool because like they allow you to sort of like stop being slaves of big tech. Uh, so they provide an alternative, and so it's sort of a miracle that I still get like mainstream media coverage because of that. Like usually that doesn't happen, but it somehow does with me.
Yeah.
So I've been on Newsmax and Fox also though, right? But it's sort of like the way I see it is that I think the world is sort of shifting. People are realizing that putting your data in the hands of big tech is not going to be like sustainable any longer. And I'll, every single startup I've set up, I've created is actually a part of that. Is actually a part of trying to get big tech to get their hands off our data. And
Right.
yeah, but you asked about traveling though. I mean, traveling is awesome. Like I like traveling. I've been exploring sort of like this area, like this part of the world. This past year though, just since like there's a lot of things to do in Asia. There's a lot of things to do here. So I might actually try to fly back to like do a tour of like the Western world. I'm sorry, like that's so weird.
I'll take it. No,
Like
it's totally fine.
next year probably. So this year is still gonna be fully Asia.
Sure. If you
Um,
make it
but
to
yeah,
Los Angeles, let me know. So
yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah. We
What?
should wait. We should hang out. I owe you a lot of beers. Well,
Yeah. What's up with that? We gotta fix that. But one of the cool things about seeing the projects you're working on and your commitment to pushing the boundaries is your new application now. It's called Bestee.AI. And when you told me about this, I said, oh my goodness, we gotta really talk about that and what it means for an AI companion to exist in 2024.
I mean, a lot of AI companions exist already, right? And sort of like the first thing that people ask me when I tell them about this is like, what's the difference? Why another AI chatbot? We already have ChatGPT now. The difference is the architecture, and that's where I get geeky, and that's why I need marketing people to help explain.
Sure.
But this is a podcast with you, so I'm just gonna tell you, like, it's the difference is it's private AI, private as in it's self-hosted on your any device that you're accessing it from. So if you have an iPhone, if you have an Android device, you will basically just go to this app and download the app, and it has like an entire LLM, an entire AI, like in the app without downloading anything from anywhere. It just runs on your device. Uh, Even if you visit like the demo site, which is just unconnected.ai, you go there, click that link, and that's just a website, right? And that website downloads an AI into the browser cache, so it just stays there, and you can just talk to it. You can just chat to it, and so like that's one technical differentiation. My marketing folks always remind me to also talk about basically, if you're talking to an AI or if you're talking to a chatbot already because you're lonely, I don't think you want like your best friend to leak your data. I mean, if you we surveyed like 30% of people actually talk to AI like ChatGPT.
Right.
not in the context of work, but like, hey, I have a problem with my girlfriend, I have a problem with my boyfriend. What am I going to do about this? Like, that's already happening. That's
Yeah.
30%. It's not just a productive tool. It was created to be a productive tool, right? But here's the thing: you're giving this data set, not to just like this one friend that you have. It's given to this faceless corporation, not faceless. Sam Altman, right? Like that's the face.
Right. Right. Of course.
It's being given to this massive corporation, and I don't think that's cool. So yeah, we focus on creating like models that can run on devices that are like making it easy for people to like making the common man able to sort of like man or woman to
Right.
sort of like just run these AIs and talk to them. Yeah,
So let's take a step back because I know the last year I've been fortunate
sure.
enough to travel. Sports journalism really ramped up for me personally. I got to go fly out to the
Okay,
Middle East to do cover baseball. I got to travel to different ballparks in the United States. And when
awesome.
you're travel, there are days that go by where you're talking to absolutely no one. You may
Right,
say good
right.
morning
Okay.
or here's my boarding pass, and that's it. So I can understand
Yeah.
the feeling of feeling like you're the only person out there on the planet. But what was the moment for you when you said, this is a problem people are having? We're going to try to find a solution with Bestie.
So, a lot of people are actually isolated. Like, so even if you don't feel lonely, like, so lonely is such a word, right? Like, a lot of people don't feel like they're lonely. If I ask you, are you lonely? You probably would say no. Like, you're not currently lonely, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, isolation since what was it, 2013? Since 2013 to 2024 has risen 40%. Like isolation, all right? So isolation per day. So someone who doesn't feel lonely, like the average person, still spends more time, 40% more time alone than it was like a decade ago. So that's sort of like that's sort of an interesting fact, right? Like
Yeah.
what are we doing? We're mostly we're on social media. We use that to sort of like replace social interactions, but that's sort of like lame, right? Like that's a lot of the things that we see is actually like, like this is not very healthy. There's a correlation between people using social media and people being sad, and that's sad. I mean,
Yeah.
the way Bestie is formulated and created and trained and RLHF is it's a companion that's healthy. Like it basically tries to promote healthy behavior with you and talks to you. And in parallel, it also has additional features. So Bestie has like auto journals. So basically, it journals your day for you. Like you talk to it, journals your day for you, and the journal is used to sort of like refer to like historically your historic conversations, but it is also used to sort of like score your day based on your emotional content. Like if it's if you're starting to talk about like something sad, it's basically labeled as such. And
Yeah.
that's sort of like, it doesn't claim to be a therapist. We don't want it to be a therapist, but it's a tool for you to sort of like self-reflect. Oh, I've been too lonely. And since it's offline, I think this part is very cool. Since it's 100% offline, um, it can actually just help you digital detox. You know that
Mhm.
digital detox thing, like you turn off your, like stop scrolling, stop scrolling Instagram, stop scrolling TikTok, right?
Yeah.
And doom scrolling is what makes you sad. So stop doing it, and stop doing it. But talk to this AI instead. Talk to this friend instead that lives in your phone. And
Right.
that's sort of like what we want to do. I feel that um, yes, you can do that with ChatGPT, but I mean, if you do that with ChatGPT, you're still online. There's no way to actually, stop doom scrolling. It's and plus, like not to mention they probably take all your data. I don't know. Like, I mean, that's sort of like the way we built this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could imagine, you think about when you were a kid or when I was a kid, I was because I'm of a certain age. I'm not young like yourself. The idea of the future of being able to talk to your watch or talk to your device and have it be a full on personality. But you're saying an offline AI, if it gets to know you as an entity, you can say individual, but as an entity, it would probably have a personality on its own.
We're building personalities for it, and we're sort of like customizing personalities. So if it's just if you're someone who's looking for expressly for mental wellness, this personality is similar but not quite to a therapist. We call it an off-duty therapist. So the off-duty therapist can talk to you and like give insights, but it's not a therapist. It's not going to be a therapist. It's a friend, right? It can go sort of like the more boyfriend girlfriend virtual boyfriend route, but we don't want to go too much into that. So it's still basically just an intimate conversation with someone who likes you, who loves you. um there's also the kind of thing that like this that we found from our many FGDs and research. uh a friend that makes fun of you, makes jokes with you, and sort of like a friend to hang out with, like not totally polite and sort of like funny in a
Yeah.
way, like and that's sort of like the first three personas that we're creating more. The idea is to have this application basically survey you at the beginning, like or ask you questions, and you answer these questions, and after you've answered all the questions, you basically get a persona that fits you, and
Yeah.
it fits you towards like you fits you and tries to make you healthier. Uh, and yeah, that's sort of like a that's the goal. Of course, we've also been talking to psychiatrists and psychologists for this, like basically actual therapists in human behavior. But again, as I said, we're not actually trying to make a therapy session. This is not better help with AI. No, this is a friend. But it's monitored by people who are actually professionals.
So let's talk more about how it actually works. There's the app component, but
Sure,
there's
sure.
also a wearable component that the bangle or the wearable component
Mm,
will take stock of your vitals. Can you go more into that and how it relates to Bestee.ai?
okay, okay. So it's not your vitals per se. First of all, the bangle is optional. It's 100% optional. You can do without it. In fact, we're not even launching the bangle until like I guess in 6 to 8 months we release the bangle basically. So the bangle itself is basically just a bangle with a mic, right, and computing with it. Now, what it does is it basically recognizes all the conversations around you and all the conversations that you're having. Okay, and using onboard speech to text, like speech recognition, it basically puts everything, like all these text, um, like into sort of like a historical data. I'm speaking very geeky, but like this is like an external memory for you. Like so, I'm talking to you. Like if I'm wearing a bangle, that bangle would detect what I was saying, and I can basically ask my AI, which lives on my phone, not my bangle, hey,
Hmm.
what did I talk to Flobo yesterday? Right. And this also goes into the emotional journaling thing. So it actually sort of like detects whether you're having, emotional conversations, whether it's like highly charged, is it positive, is it negative? And you can still see, like, okay, all right, like I've been too negative lately. I've been talking about things with like bad connotations lately, so like that's sort of like what it does, right? So the bangle itself is cool because it's all offline too. Like it's by default offline. It'll communicate with the phone. That's the only time it becomes online. We're still working it out. We're gonna try to make it as offline as possible.
Hmm.
The idea is it is a voice recorder that gives context to the AI on your phone, keeps it private, makes you able to sort of like, instead of like step tracking, like I have a step tracker on my neck, right? Instead of step tracking, it's basically social tracking, checking if you're meeting people, checking if you're meeting people, meeting, like if you're talking, like if you're being positive about yourself. And this doesn't send it to any servers. It is just on your phone and on your bank.
Why is being offline so important for this project?
Well, the other AI hardware startups are definitely not offline, right? Like most of them are just using APIs to OpenAI, to Perplexity, to like their own hosted models, right? Um, that's where they make their money mostly, because like API connections, and that's sort of like their economic way of doing things. So yes, this question is like this is a question I often get, especially from the VCs. Why offline? Now the answer is like people are actually really really wary of giving their data to AI. We have seen like I think that it was on a Cisco report, like Cisco Computer Consumer Privacy Report. Like I think it's around 40% of people are very wary
Hmm.
of giving AI their personal data, right? And it's also sort of like a growing concern. Like a lot of people want AI privacy to be regulated, and this is like a huge number. I think it was like 66% or something, 66%. Um, and that's sort of like, yeah, I mean, that's an untapped market, first of all. Like, a lot of people are doing this hardware stuff, but like they're not thinking that, you know, like there are people who really don't want their data to be kept by OpenAI or kept by these companies. And that's a target market that where we think we can sort of like position ourselves as one of the first movers in this space.
Sure,
So that's
absolutely.
okay. That's number one. And number two, obviously, like, I dislike centralization. I prefer data to be decentralized to the users. Users should own their data. And what's more personal than this type of data?
Right.
Your conversation with a friend. I mean, yeah. If that's sort of like, first of all, that's one thing that's philosophically aligns with me. And secondly, there's a huge untapped market for this. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems that's the case. So, when you had the idea come across your desk, what was the first thing on your mind? You've done so many things in this space before. What were some of your objectives in helping this concept of Bestee.Ai get off the ground?
I was well, I saw this basically as conversations in the, like, the AI community. The actual tools and the actual frameworks that we use are there. Like I didn't create the frameworks from scratch, obviously. So when I saw this, I was like, hey, here's the thing. Why not use this for everything? So when this came across like my desk, my GitHub, I
Hmm.
was like, hey, we need to sort of like use this for good, since we are only a few years pre AGI, artificial general intelligence, right? That's really clear, right? And after that, that's the singularity. And if there's like, it's gonna sound very sci-fi, it's gonna sound very Star Trek, but like the last line of defense of these giant ultra intelligent AIs is at least to augment ourselves with our own AIs, with our own digital intelligences, our own cortices, yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
my own exocortex instead of someone else's, right? And I just feel like, I mean, I'm old. I'm 40. I'm old.
That's
I'm an
not
old 40,
old.
right?
That's not old
I
at
don't know. I
all.
don't know. Like, okay, all right,
Come on.
I'm I'm older than I look. Okay.
Okay. Fair
Uh,
enough. Yeah. Same here.
and I've seen this happen before. Like, email used to be decentralized. Now email is captured. You try to set up your own email server, you won't be able to set up your own email server. It sucks. And the internet itself used to be decentralized. Now it's like massive monoliths of like organizations controlling the internet. And I God, like, Google stuff like Google Drive, Google Photos, love them, but yeah, still that's centralized solutions. That keeps happening. The capture of technology by big tech, by and I keep saying big tech, by larger tech companies that control your data and sort of monetize your data. That's always happened, and this is going to keep happening until we get to AI, AGI, ASI. And if that happens, that's actually not very good for humanity, is it? Like, like you're basically having like these intelligences that are
Sure.
smarter than us, that are already sort of like, what they're doing. Like, there's a shit coin right now. There's a meme coin. That's that's made by AI. It's not really, like, it's made by someone else, and then like the AI endorsed it or whatever, and it's an AI chatbot that Mark Andreessen from Netscape sponsored or whatever. That's just the beginning. Like, there's going to be ideological capture. There's also going to be financial capture, but it's not going to be done by organics. It's going to be done by the digital intelligences. And this is sort of like the last line of defense is movement to build, host, run your own AIs, and make sure that these AIs basically help you and protect you from the rest of like this insane future that we're that we're in. I mean,
I,
it's yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I
go
have a
ahead.
question
Sorry.
about the end side of things for the users or the potential user side, and then it's kind of a back
Sure,
to back
sure.
question. Does AI get a bad rap? I feel like people have their own minds made up about the
Yeah,
evils of it, or what's your place on that?
I love AI. Like, I wouldn't be here if I didn't, right? Like, my when I graduated from college, which was many years ago, I did AI. This was back in 2008,
Oh yeah,
2007 to
you're so
2008, right?
old, right, right, right,
Yeah, I'm super old, man. Oh my god, one foot in the grave. No, no. But I was doing expert systems when it wasn't cool. I was here during AI winter. I love AI, and I welcome the singularity. But the thing is, the trajectory of the singularity is, don't construe what I just said as doomerism. Like, it's not doomerism. It's just like, it's just common sense. The trajectory of the human race is going to be like towards our mind children, our tech, not overlords, but like children, right? Like, these are going to like continue the race for us. But my issue with it, like, my what horrifies me is that the trajectory is very centralized, and doing that ensures that we'll have, like, ASI that's sort of controlled or lives within like just one tech company, and that's, or a cabal of tech companies. That's
Right,
fucking sorry, I F word, but like, it's effing dangerous, right? And me, I, I'm I'm not a, like, I see a lot of doomerism out there, and I think most of them are actually just like, misinformed. A lot of people are saying, like, this is going to be terrible for us, like, we're going to be replaced, etc. But here's the thing, like, the trajectory of humanity is actually going towards there. And yes, there's going to be sort of like a replacement, but the replacement is, if you align what's coming better, it's actually going to be a good thing. Now, a
right,
lot of people are going to make the argument that, AI alignment requires it to be centralized, and open source AI is terrible. But I think that's a terrible argument, because you've seen open source, like, I don't know, like you might have heard that, open source software is actually very, very safe. Most open source software basically have communities around them, and these act like an immune response, right? And instead of trusting just one company or one group of companies with building the singularity itself, why not help, like, make it PvP? Make
okay,
everyone have their own AI. Make everyone, in fact, like, make everyone able to train their own AI, make their own AI better, and let these AI basically PvP each other. And that works. I mean, that happens, and that will be actually better than us, like, dumb monkey humans, trying to sort of like align something that we don't 100% understand, right?
right.
So, yeah, I mean, this is going into sci-fi territory, but like, yeah, you asked about, like, people are fearful of AI. people are fearful of the wrong things, in my opinion.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
not AI that you should be afraid of. AI is coming, AGI is coming, ASI is coming. What you should be afraid about is that type of misalignment where you have no alternative. You have one ASI, only one company has it, and that's it. And game over, man.
Game over, man. So that leads to my second question. So if you have
Sure.
someone who's potentially a user of the Bestie AI platform, they're kind of, for me, maybe I am a lay person
Sure.
coming from the outside looking in. I see two camps of people who would resist. One person who would say,
Mm,
"Oh, bah humbug! I'll just go out to the bar and I'll make some friends
right.
at church or the grocery store. I don't need things." Or you may have the hermits or the introverts going, well, I'd rather just brood by myself like Batman. So,
Mm.
like, how do you educate either one of those two camps to try something like the Bestie AI app platform?
So, okay. So for the first person, I would say like even if you don't feel alone, there's actually a lot of people who don't feel alone, but they're actually in solitary most of the time, right?
Yeah.
I told you like that's statistically true. If this is not you, then fine. It's okay. That's fine. But like a lot of people are actually sort of like doing things that are that are basically just mental fidgets that are not really good fidgets either, like something toxic, like scrolling dating apps and randomly choosing a girl or a guy, right? And just I mean, that's also social, but that's not actually very positive, right? So why not do digital detox? Why not, all right, okay, you like going to the bars, cool. On your off time, what about like disconnecting too, like and disconnecting and just connecting to this, talk to this AI that has your own best interest in mind, doesn't leak your data because it's impossible for it to leak your data anyway, and sort of like talk to it and discuss like anything, and that's part of like your detox. So
Mhm.
that's for the first person. For the second person, like this person's already like alone, lonely, the hermit types, right? um we'd like to bring them out of their shell, like have them practice on basically someone that's in their phones,
Mhm.
and no judgment. This is not even like connected to anything. This is something that you talk to that simulates social interactions, but it's not connected to anything. So don't be embarrassed. It's not going to leak anything. You can actually just wipe its memory if you want to, and have that as the sort of like a stepping stone towards actually talking to real people.
Sure.
So yeah, so that's what I would say to those people.
You know, you had said before on another platform that loneliness is a pandemic. Is that still the case? Are we getting any closer to finding a cure
Ooh,
or
you like that, huh? I mean, no,
yeah?
well, I don't like that, but like, yeah, it's terrible that it is. And the thing about loneliness being a pandemic is that a lot of people are more lonely than ever before. Like it's like 30% of like the entire human race is say they're lonely. Sort of like, mm, and obviously part of that is because of the other pandemic, the COVID pandemic, right?
Mhm.
But when we're talking about like loneliness being a pandemic, it's also because loneliness is terrible for you. Like there's a Health Organization statement based on a paper in 2022 that said, what was it, loneliness is as bad as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow.
Like it shortens your lifespan by that much. And cigarettes are terrible for you. I'm not telling you to smoke instead of you know, I mean, cigarettes are actually terrible for you. But the World Health Organization said that loneliness is as bad as 15 a day, and
Yeah.
that's insane. That sounds crazy, right? But that's true. Like so, I think I'm not a formal definition, but in my head, the definition of a pandemic is something that's bad for you, that's everywhere. Uh, a massive swathe of the global population experiences it, and that's loneliness. I still think, yes, it's still the case. Pandemic might be over, but this pandemic is still
Sure.
there. And yeah, that's
So the concept of having that AI companion, the Bestie, and the Bestee.AI, you said there is some journaling aspect. I know we had the conversations with our AI companions, but what exactly does it know about you over time? Maybe senses of humor? Is it like preferences, jokes? Tell me more.
It'll adapt to you. Obviously, it has memory of, like, the more you talk to it, the more basically journals. Like, it has a memory, and it always sort of like prunes the memory, makes sure that it understands how to talk to you better, and sort of like the idea behind this is like it's an adaptive system, and you can keep on talking to it offline. We are also allowing the AI to, like, sort of like, because these are small AIs, sometimes it's not as smart as ChatGPT, it's on your phone. So if it needs to sort of answer your question about something more difficult, I don't know, like, what's the circumference of Jupiter? What's the distance between Mars and Venus or whatever, right? And it doesn't know what to answer, it can actually talk to ChatGPT for you, or like Perplexity for you, like all the other AIs, but it will censor all of your personal data first. So if you're asking, like, if you're asking it, hey, Pandu wants to know about the circumference of Jupiter, decentricity wants to know about the circumference of Jupiter, right? It'll go through that question, identifies decentricity as the person, removes that person and changes to, like, I don't know, Jessica or some other person, scrubs all of the other data, like phone numbers, addresses, etc., and then send it over to like the bigger AI, the smarter AI. So it can actually interface to larger AIs for you. And this I think is also pretty cool, because, like, you can actually still use it fully offline, but it can still get online if you want it to, if you allow it to. But everything's just scrubbed. So this is one thing that I think will be a whole class of solutions, putting small LLMs, small AI locally, to sort of like help you interact with larger LLMs. So your local LLM becomes sort of like your agent, and that agent basically connects to larger AIs and other APIs, in a way that's, that keeps your user privacy. And that's the thing that we're launching with the Bestie Plus subscription. So you have the app. Obviously, the app is there; it's already offline. But if you want the subscription, that actually helps you, like, in other ways. It's almost a replacement for like a ChatGPT subscription, because like, you can still query ChatGPT, but in a way that's super personal, and helped by the local LLM, so that doesn't leak anything.
Sure.
So
How does device to device work? Let's say if my phone reaches obsolescence, but I want to keep my Bestie information, how do I go from one to the other?
that's a very good question. Right now, there's no way to do it. I'll have to tell you outright. We will develop a way to do it, in a way that keeps privacy. It's probably going to involve like, an encrypted package of some kind sent to servers. But right now, yes, there's no actual way to do that. You talk to your Bestie on your phone or on your laptop. That's a different Bestie.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
So yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Good question. Thank you.
Well, that's actually my next question. The roadmap. I mean, that's the fun part. You can
Okay.
tell me what's going on the next 6 to 12 months as you run this up to have more
Sure.
of an adoption opportunities.
So we're actually in the early stages of building this. Everything is already sort of like a prototype, and we're doing sort of like limited batch FGDs for people who want to try out the app. You can actually go to Bestee.ai and register for one of these. So basically, register for the whitelist or try to get the version. Alpha version, you have to pay. Whitelist, you don't have to pay. We'll inform you once we are live on the app stores. And there's also a demo that is up. So I actually bought like a cool domain to sort of like advertise what the demo does. The demo is just a minimum version of Bestie that is basically a proof of concept showing that AI can run offline, right? So it's called unconnected.ai. It has none of the features of Bestie that I mentioned. It just shows you that AI can run offline and without an app. So you go there on your phone browser, and it just downloads an AI into your browser cache, and it just runs there using web GPU. So it's a cool tech demo basically. But like if you want the real thing, you'll have to sign up for the alpha.
Yeah.
If you want the real thing, but and you don't mind waiting for it, you can sign up for the whitelist. Go to Bestee.ai. Roadmap, though. Sorry, your question was roadmap. That's what we're currently doing. What we're going to be doing is we're going to launch a Kickstarter for the bangle. So that's coming soon. I'll let you know when. And after that, we're in discussions with a VC to fund this. So it's not just friends and family. It's not just me funding it, basically. So we're going to continue with VC discussion. That's something we're going to reveal once it closes. Hopefully, cross fingers. And we're still open for additional rounds. So this is all seed round phase. So we're still open for any additional investment. Contact me. Like Bestee.ai, I think has our contact details. We are also BesteeAI on Twitter. You can DM me there. I think DMs are also open.
Yeah.
And the development after this, like once we have the bangle, once we have the app, like sort of like what we see ourselves as 3 years in the future, is like we can be an alternative to sort of like the centralized API based wrappers, agents they're going to be everywhere. We're going to be self-hosted agents in your phone, and that's sort of like I think we're still the first mover in this category in a way that's like I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's sort of like what we're doing in the next few months and years.
You've been on the show a number of times, but some of your other projects like Myriad Social and the
Sure.
Bio. So the questions I have asked on those, I want to ask for this one here. You've been committed to
Sure.
making sure information sticks with the user and not at the hands of big tech. But are you concerned that maybe big tech sees what you're doing and decides to come up with a bestie of their own? Is there any kind of proprietary technology
Mm,
you can like somehow copyright to make sure that doesn't happen?
that's a very good question. For Bestie, it's sort of like different because obviously I'm not the only player. I'm not the only one developing things like this. I think what's different is the focus. A lot of these. So if you have a model these days and it's a good model, it's a huge model. You monetize yourself by using APIs, right? So that's a very centralized way of doing things. So that's what the people do. Like OpenAI, Perplexity, and that's but on the other hand you have like researcher models, right? Like people who have like GPUs like mine run their own models, or GPUs like mine there, right? Stack of
Mm-hmm.
GPUs, right? And that's more hobbyist, right? And a lot of people are focused in doing that and making sure that the hobbyists will get their own AI. Our focus is in the tiny edge models, tiny edge AI models. And I don't think there's a for-profit company that's actually focusing on that right now. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see it. Like I don't see people focusing on that yet. So there's a I first I don't think big tech is going to go there, because if they go there, they're going to lose out on business on their APIs. Their
Mm-hmm.
monetization is already API based, right? So if you change that, if go I don't know, go to a random tech company that's already doing like these APIs, and try to sell them on something like Bestie. They would be like, okay, how do I monetize this? But for me, it's a bit different. Like this is actually how I'm going to monetize this. This is actually what I'm going to be selling. It's like the old paradigm, right? Of cloud computing versus like having a laptop of your own, right? Now, I mean, back in the old days, like no one had computers. They only had terminals that connect to massive computers, right? And then the PC era started. I think the thing is, like, yes, the PC era started with IBM, and then there were a lot of IBM clones. IBM could not keep that market, right? A
Sure.
lot of Chinese clones, and that's actually what's gonna happen to AI, in my opinion, the PC moment, changing from centralized entities with terminals all around, or in our case, one central, well, several central AIs like OpenAI and a lot of API wrappers, to the PC era where everyone owns their own AI. And I think that's not something that big tech is tuned for.
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider, especially that you're going in a different lane for now. Hopefully, a community gets built around Bestie as things ramp up for the future, and
Hmm.
that's kind of interesting because you told me the idea, and I was like, yeah, I don't consider myself a lonely person, like you say, but I spend a lot of time by myself, talking to myself, telling jokes to myself, asking riddles to
Oh,
myself.
you know,
If I had a
yeah,
bestie, maybe it might be a little different, you know.
might be. It might be.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I'm gonna send you one.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna send you
please send me your bestie. That'd be kind of fun. Can I name my bestie? That'd be kind of cool. Or will they come pre like
Not
loaded?
yet.
All right,
We're
I will
still under development, so not yet. But
I will
yeah,
give it a name just because.
yeah, you would do
I
that too.
totally would. This has been a lot of fun. Now here's the fun part. If someone wants to learn more about Bestie AI and learn about the product and the rollout, what they should do going forward.
Go to Bestee.ai. Go to Bestee.ai on Twitter. And just sign up. I mentioned whitelist. That whitelist is there. Um, that's if you want to wait for the app to hit the stores, and the Kickstarter to hit Kickstarter. And Yeah, go to the whitelist. That's the easiest way. If you want to go like the extra mile, you can also um, get alpha access, which is basically paying for like an early version, very early version of the app, by the way. So just to help us work out the kinks. It's not going to be a pretty app. It's for now, but like you can help us sort of like develop it. I think that would be kind of cool, Flobo.
That's fine. I have tons of friends who aren't pretty. That's great. It's totally fine with me.
All right. Okay.
No, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like the idea of being able to interact with someone when times you want to is pretty cool idea. A lot of fun
Mm.
stuff you could pull from that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're here for. Like, we want people to have fun. Want people to not be alone. And we want people to be able to sort of like stop doom scrolling and just make a friend.
Yeah, because doom scrolling is so easy and so hard to get out of.
Exactly.
Bestie.ai.
Exactly.
The description will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time. Decentricity. It means the world to me to learn more about what you're working on because you just don't stop. You think you innovate, you
No,
find ways to bring things to the people. It's pretty cool to listen to.
thank you, Globo. Yeah, thank you. I try.